Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I am just Mike. You are watching and you are listening to episode number 43 of the Rock Out Wild Show, where it is not just a show, it is a way of life. Now, if you haven't done so yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below this very video. You can also like or dislike this episode of the Rock Out Wild Show. And you can also share episode 43 of this very show to everyone you know, from your family to your friends to your coworkers to your acquaintances. Spread the word and tell everyone that you know about the Rock Out Wild Show. I am your host, Just Mike, and we are getting closer and closer to Halloween. That it will be on October 31st. It will be on a Friday this year. So I figure the next couple of episodes of the Rock Out Wild Show will be somewhat Halloween themed, a little bit more so for episode 44, which I plan to do everything of the Rock Out Wild Show as a themed type of episode. But with this episode 43, as you see from the title of this very video, I will get into some of Halloween aspects for this episode. I found an article that is hot off the presses. It came out on October the 3rd of this year. And that is an article on the 50 best horror movies you must see before you die. And this came from Empire Online. So I will be going over that in the main event of this very episode. Also, I'm going to take a look at on this day in the world of sports, wrestling, music, film, and television for October the 22nd. As of this recording, it is 7:51 p.m. on October the 9th, 2025, and this will be aired on October the 22nd in just a couple of weeks' time. To kick things off for episode 43 of the Rock Out Wild Show, I'm going to react to an old movie review of mine. A movie called The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. So I'm going to check that out. I do believe this movie is an extension of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, which came out decades prior. So I will be reacting to that. So let's kick things off, shall we? So I'm going to open up my webcam and say hi to everyone watching. What is up? How's it going? Thank you for tuning into this very episode of the Rock Out Wild Show. I'm going to react to The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. So let's do this. I'm going to present, share screen, make sure the audio is on. Let's go to the review, share, and let's go full screen. And let's react. In 3, 2, 1, action.
This sucks. Last Hobbit movie. I'm going to miss Middle-earth, but man, what a way to go out, that's for sure.
Middle-earth had its time, I think.
Hey, what is up?
Before I start again, I love that music, very underrated. Shout out to Galvanic for that.
All movie fans in the movieverse, welcome to the Mike McRock Movie Review Show. Right now, I'm going to talk about the last installment of the Hobbit trilogy, and it is called Battle of the Five Armies. And all you need to know is that in this movie, these five armies go into battle for real estate, and that's pretty much all you need to know for this movie. And they want to reclaim or claim their home, as they call it, as they see it. And there's a lot of action, and there's no shortage of it.
Right.
And one of the things I really enjoyed about this movie was the acting, the delivery, and the roles. Everyone got their shine on in this movie, even though I would have liked to see more from certain people, but I'm not going to complain. I really like the relationship with Bilbo and the main dwarf Thorin. I like the arc of Thorin's character and where his character goes from beginning to the end, especially with Bilbo Baggins, and just their dynamic back and forth of Bilbo hiding something from Thorin, and Thorin's corrupt character. He gets corrupted by gold, and he comes around finally at the end. So I really enjoyed some of the character arcs and the acting in this movie, especially from Ian McKellen. Ian McKellen, I should say Sir Ian McKellen. He was great in the movie. I like his aspects and his scenes with the Necromancer and how that all ties in with the Lord of the Rings. I also like how this movie really delivered great cinematography. Sometimes it's hit and miss. You can notice there's a lot of CGI in this movie. There's a moment where one of the heroes in this movie was climbing up the broken hill or the broken bridge. As he was climbing up, I noticed that's something they could have cleaned up. There were some moments where the CGI does stick out, but there was also moments where you feel like you are in Middle Earth and you're a part of the movie, and I really enjoyed how they used the backdrop and the green screen sometimes, even though sometimes you can notice it. But there were some times, like I said, where I thought that the CGI looked on par in this movie, especially with the action. And like I said, this was non-stop action in this movie. This is one of those movies where
you could say this had total non-stop action, pun intended.
you can put pieces from the second one and tie it into this movie, and you can make two movies here. And
yeah, you could.
Maybe that's what they could have done originally. I understand that's what the original intention was, but I can understand why they done it, because of the intro, because of the dragon stuff in this movie, as well as Luke Evans. I can't ignore Luke Evans in this movie. I thought he was a great leader as his character. You can almost argue that he could be the main character in this movie, and I would actually consider that.
I actually even forgot that Luke Evans was in this. I remember I reacted to Dracula Untold a couple of months prior. He was pretty good in that. I'm assuming that he was pretty good in this, as far as I can remember. I really don't remember much with The Hobbit in the Battle of the Five Armies at all. I don't.
To be a quite argument, as when it comes to characters and who the main character could be or should be in this movie. To me, everyone is the main character. Luke Evans, Martin Freeman as Bilbo, Thorin, Ian McKellen's character. To me, everyone is a main character. There is no one that stands out because everyone got equal time.
Right.
My only complaint was Russell Brand's character. I thought he was in it way too much, as he should. I didn't really find him funny at all.
I don't like Russell Brand.
I think he was just in it too much. If he was just in the back in this movie, I would have been fine, but I think he really overcooked it. And to me, it wasn't necessary for him to be as long in the movie as he should have been. But overall, I really enjoyed this movie. This was all-out action. There were great storytelling moments. There were some emotional moments where I think they could have been hit maybe a little bit more than they should have been, like the romance scene between one of the higher-up characters and one of the elves. I think that they could have played that out a little bit more, make it more relevant in this movie. I thought the romance between the two of them was a lot better in the second one than it was in the third one. So with that said, yeah, they could have used a lot more relevancy to their relationship. They could have used a lot more cleanup in the CGI department, but like I said, I really enjoyed this movie. Overall, this is a great way to end the series of the Hobbit franchise, and I would say the Battle of the Five Armies delivered 82.5 points out of 100. And if you saw this last Hobbit movie, what did you think about it? Feel free to comment below and give me your thoughts about the Battle of the Five Armies. And Manu Bennett, you are still definitely a badass, that's for sure.
I completely forgot that Manu Bennett was in this movie. He was awesome as dish-stroking Arrow. I completely forgot Manu Bennett was in The Hobbit. Completely forgot.
And also you can hit that subscribe button down below this video as well to get McRocks.
Yeah, so that was my reaction to my old movie review for The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies. I really don't remember this movie at all. In fact, I kind of checked out after the Lord of the looking back at it and in hindsight now, I kind of checked out after the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I do not wish to go back and watch The Hobbit. I don't. I don't want to watch any Hobbit movies at all. I would love to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy again, but not The Hobbit. I'm sorry, but I can't. 82.5 points seemed good at that time. I don't know what my points would be now if I seen it in 2025. But that's my take on it in hindsight. That was my reaction to my old movie review for The Hobbit in the Battle of the Five Armies. Now let's take a look at the stuff that you come to see on the Rock Out Wild Show, and that is on this day for October the 22nd. And we're going to start with the longest one here, and we're going to be here all night. At least that's my thinking. So let's kick things off with sports on this day for October the 22nd. So I'm going to present, share screen, and let's have a look, shall we? All right. So what do we have for sports on October the 22nd? Well, we have in 1878, on October the 22nd, the first rugby match under floodlights takes place in Salford between Broughton and Swinton. In 1884, Sporting Life announces that both pennant winners will meet in 3-game series October 23rd to the 25th at Polo Grounds, New York City, to determine baseball champion. In 1885, John Ward and several teammates secretly form Brotherhood of Pro Baseball Players First Baseman Union. In 1930, SG Ginny Mudson's soccer teams form. In 1933, Italian boxer Primo Carnea beats Spanish challenger Paulino Yuxton on points in Rome, Italy to retain the IBU heavyweight title. In 1935, PGA Championship Men's Golf, Twin Hills Johnny Revolta wins his only major title, defeating Tony Armorer 5-4. In 1939, NBC becomes first network to televise a pro football game. Brooklyn Dodgers beat Philadelphia Eagles 23-14 at Brooklyn's Ebbets Field. In 1950, LA Rams beat Baltimore Colts 70-27. In 1966, ice hockey legend Bobby Orr scores his first career goal versus the Montreal Canadiens. In 1967, Denny Hulme becomes first New Zealander to win the F1 World Drivers' Championship with third place in the Mexican Grand Prix at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, wins title by 5 points from team leader Jack Brabham. Jack Brabham. Write that one down. In 1967, Ian Brayshaw, WA Oz versus Vic Perth, takes all 10 cricket wickets. In 1967, Joe DiMaggio is hired as Executive VP of A's by Charlie Finley. In 1967, Ryder Cup Golf Champions, U.S. beats Great Britain 23.5 to 8.5. Ben Hogan captains Americans to record 15-point victory margin. In 1968, American swimmers sweep the medals in women's 200-meter freestyle at the Mexico City Olympics. Debbie Meyer takes gold in Olympic record to 10.5 ahead of teammates Jan Hinn and Jane Barkman. In 1972, Baseball World Series, Oakland A's beats the Reds 3-2 in Cincinnati for a 4-3 series win. A's first championship since 1930. First in Oakland, MVP A's catcher Gene Tennis. In 1974, MLB, New York Yankees trade outfielder Bobby Mercer to San Francisco Giants for outfielder Bobby Bonds. Any relation to Barry Bonds, I wonder? In 1975, World Series, Baseball World Series, Cincinnati Reds beat Boston Red Sox 4-3 at Fenway Park for 4 games to 3 series win. MVP Red switch hitter Pete Rose. And there's a face. There's a face right there. In 1976, Rick Barry, San Francisco, begins then longest NBA free throwback streak of 60. In 1978, Greta Weitz runs female world record marathon. In 1978, New York City Marathon, Greta Weitz of Norway wins her race debut in world record 2:32:30. Bill Rogers wins his 3rd straight title in 2:12:12. In 1984, future Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback Ken Stabler retires after 17 seasons in the NFL with Oakland Raiders, Houston Oilers, and New Orleans Saints. And when they go marching in. In 1989, Denver Nuggets beats the Juggalo Pleskia split 135-129 in 3rd McDonald Open. In 1989, over-competitive McLaren teammates Alan Prost and Ayrton Senna famously collide and skid into an escape road during Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. Prost retires from race and claims 3rd Formula One World Drivers' Championship. In 1992, Atlanta Braves become first American team to win a Baseball World Series game outside of the United States, beats Toronto Blue Jays 7-2 in Game 5 at Skydome in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. In 1994, Tony Rominger bicycles world record time in 53,832 kilometers. In 1996, New York Yankee Bernie Williams hits record-tying 7th postseason home run as Yanks tie a record of 6 straight postseason road win en route to 8. In 1997, Cleveland outfielder Marcus Grisms World Series hitting streak ends after 15 games as Indians row Florida 10-3 in coldest ever World Series game, which was 38 degrees Fahrenheit. In 1997, NHL superstar Wayne Gretzky's wife Janet is knocked unconscious and gets 2 stitches after plexiglass falls on her watching a game. Ow. Damn it. That sucks. Can't believe that happened that long ago, too. In 1999, NHL goaltender Grant Fuhr wins his 400th career game versus Florida Panthers. In the year 2000, when we will make it up to you, German Ferrari driver Michael Schumacher wins Massillon Grand Prix at Sepang, his 4th straight race victory to finish season 3rd and 1st of 5 straight F1 World Series Drivers' Championships, wins by 19 points from Mika Hakkinen. In the year 2000, President's Cup Golf Robert Trent Jones, David Love III, Stuart Sink, and Kirk Triplett are unbeaten as the U.S. outclasses international team 21.5 to 10.5. In the year 2001, MLB American League Championship, New York Yankees beat Seattle Mariners 4-1. In 2006, Spanish Renault driver Fernando Alonso finishes 2nd in season-ending Brazilian Grand Prix at Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace to retain a Formula One World Drivers' Championship. Wins by 13 points from Michael Schumacher. In 2010, MLB American League Championship, Texas Rangers beat New York Yankees 4-2. In 2012, MLB National League Championship, where I lift my heart in, San Francisco Giants beat St. Louis Cardinals 4-3. In 2020, the National Hockey League announces the annual NHL All-Star Game and the NHL All-Star Skills Competition will be postponed to no earlier than 2022 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and what a monstrosity that was. In 2022, Mori wins gold in bouldering and lead climbing at the IFSC World Cup in Morika, Japan. In 2024, LeBron and Bronny James become first father and son duo in NBA history to appear in a game together as LA Lakers beat Minnesota Timberwolves 110-103 at Crypto.com Arena. Those are all the things. Wow, that actually went by pretty swimmingly. Those are all the things that happened in the world of sports on October the 22nd. Now let's take a look at what happened on this day in the world of professional wrestling. As you see right there is a picture of the Shield. We got Seth Rollins on the left, Dean Ambrose on the right. And right there in the middle, it's not Roman Reigns, but it's Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was in the Shield for a brief period. I do remember that. So let's see what happened in October the 22nd for professional wrestling here. 30 years ago, in 1995, In Your House 4, Great White North came from Winnipeg Arena, Manitoba, Canada. Shawn Michaels is stripped of the Intercontinental Championship due to a real-life confrontation and getting himself beat up the night before. No surprise there. It's Shawn. The IC title is awarded to Dean Douglas, who will lose to Razor Ramon within the next 11 minutes. Elsewhere on the card, a debuting Goldust, formerly known as Dusty Rhodes, beats Marty Jannetty via pinfall. In the year 2000, WWE No Mercy went down at the Pepsi Arena in the capital city of Albany, New York. Title changes include Los Conquistadors, Edge and Christian in luchador masks, I do remember that, taking the WWF Tag Team Championships from the Hardy Boys, Matt and Jeff, and Kurt Angle beating The Rock in a no DQ match for the WWF Championship. Also, a returning Stone Cold Steve Austin fought Rikishi to a no contest, result in a no-holds-barred match. In 2001, on a championship match, Stacked Raw, 4 titles change hands. So what happened here? We have Tajiri defeating Billy Kidman for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. Kurt Angle defeated the War Machine Rhino for the WCW United States Championship. Bradshaw defeated the Hurricane for the WWF European Championship. And Chris Jericho and The Rock defeated the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon, to become the new WWF Tag Team Champions. In the year 2003, in Nashville, Tennessee, on the weekly episode of NWA TNA, Jeff Jarrett, aka Zero Dimes, beats AJ Styles to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. In 2006, TNA pay-per-view Battle for Glory took place from the CompuWare Sports Arena in Detroit, Michigan. The main event saw Sting beat Jeff Jarrett for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, with Kurt Angle serving as the special enforcer. Earlier in the show, Latin American Exchange, Hernandez and Homicide beat AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels in a 6 sides of steel cage match to claim the NWA World Tag Team belts. In 2017, WWE presented the TLC pay-per-view from the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The top matches on the card were famously shaken up just hours before the event due to illness to top talent. The event was due to see The Shield reunite for the first time to face Braun Strowman, Kane, The Bar, and The Miz in a handicap match main event. In the end, Kurt Angle replaced Roman Reigns, making his first in-ring appearance for WWE since his original run within the company ended in 2006. In addition, a match between the Demon Finn Balor and Sister Abigail Bray Wyatt was replaced with a dream match between Finn Balor and AJ Styles. In 2018, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins defeated Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler to win the Raw Tag Team titles on Monday Night Raw in Providence, Rhode Island. We also have some notable wrestling birthdays here for October the 22nd. We got legendary Pedro Pedro Morales, born in 1942. Bad News Brown in 1943. Pork Chop Catch was born on this day, October the 22nd, 1955. Don Harris was born in 1961. And born on 1986, Taya Valkyrie. And the Crusher had passed away 20 years ago on this day, October the 22nd. And those are all the things that happened in the world of professional wrestling for that very day. Now let's take a look at what happened for October the 22nd in the world of music. Well, fans mourn the death of Elliott Smith on October the 22nd, 2003. 34-year-old singer-songwriter Elliott Smith was found dead in his home. Revered as a pioneer of indie rock and folk rock, the Omaha-born artist was raised in Texas and lived much of his adult life in Portland, Oregon, where he first built a following. Soon Smith had garnered critical acclaim for his candid lyricism and his distinctive vocals. Among his best-known work was 2000's Figure 8, which broke the top 100 of the Billboard album chart, as well as his compositions for the Good Will Hunting soundtrack in 1997, which earned him an Academy Award nomination. At the time of his death, Smith was working on a sixth studio album, From a Basement on the Hill, which was produced and released prometheously in 2004. Humongously in 2004, I meant. In 1996, write that one down. I almost said 1996. It's 1966. The Supremes became the first female group to have a number one album in the U.S. with the Supremes' A Go Go. The title featured original songs like Love is like an Itching in My Heart, and the number one hit, You Can't Hurry Love. The group also covered classic tunes from the Elgins, the Four Tops, the Temptations, Martha and the Vandellas, Barrett Strong, the Isley Brothers, Nancy Sinatra, and the McCoys. Also in 1966, the Beach Boys' Good Vibrations made its debut on the U.S. singles chart. The song marked a new era of production for Brian Wilson, who recorded the song in fragments so that he could interchange and splice together sections on tape. And don't mind the noise outside my door right now. In 2021, Adele returned to the UK pop chart after a 5-year absence with her single, Easy on Me. That debuted at number 1. The song also won a Brit Award for Best British Single. In 2005, Waterloo by ABBA was voted the best song in the history of the Eurovision Song Contest. In 1990, Pearl Jam played their first ever concert, appearing at the Off-Ramp in Seattle. And in 2002, Foo Fighters released their fourth album, One by One. The album includes such hits as All My Life and Times Like These. Let's see who had birthdays on October the 22nd in the world of music. We have Leslie West from Mountain, who was born in 1945. Shelby Lynn was born on this day in 1968. And we got Mr. Lover, she is a spoken, but then I'm broken. That's the kind of girl to keep my love. Oh no, Shaggy, born on this day in 1968. 1976, John Foreman from Switchfoot was born. 1983, Plan B was born. Zach Hansen from Hanson, the three-piece group, was born on this day in 1985. Joe Seward from Glass Animals was born in 1988. And Roddy Ricch was born in 1998 on October the 22nd. Those are all the things that happened for music in October the 22nd in years past. Now let's take a look at on this day in the world of film and television as the last thing for this featured event. In 1926, boxer Jay Gordon Whitehead sucker punches magician Harry Houdini in the stomach in his dressing room at the Princess Theatre in Montreal. The attack started or helped cause the appendix that would take Houdini's life 9 days later. No, that was no magic trick either. That actually happened. In 1932, film Red Dust, directed by Victor Fleming, starring Clark Gable, Jean Harlow, and Mary Asher, premieres. In 1939, NBC becomes the first network to televise a pro football game. Brooklyn Dodgers beat Philadelphia Eagles 23-14 at Brooklyn's Ebbets Field. A little bit of sports in within the film and television, obviously. In 1942, Now Voyager, Now Voyager film, directed by Irving Rapper and starring Betty Davis, Paul Henreid, and Claude Rains, premieres in New York and it wins 3 Academy Awards. In 1955, WWNY TV Channel 7 in Carthage, Watertown, New York, begins broadcasting. In 1957, KJAC TV Channel 4 in Port Arthur, Beaumont, Texas, first broadcast. In 1958, first Japanese anime feature, film in color, The Tale of White Serpent, produced by Toei Doga Company. I almost said white supremacist for some reason. In 1979, Walt Disney World's 100 millionth guest. In 2010, the 57th National Film Awards in India, Cuddy Srank wins the Golden Lotus. In 2013, Lego Marvel Superheroes, first released in North America for some formats including Xbox and Wii, Lego's best-selling video game. In 2013, also, Thor, The Dark World, directed by Alan Taylor, starring Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman, premieres in London. Looking back at that movie in hindsight, it's okay. In 2017, LA Times publishes investigation with 38 women accusing Hollywood writer-director James Tilbeck of sexual harassment. We're not touching that with a 10-foot pole, even with a 100-foot pole for that matter. In 2018, actress Selma Blair reveals she has been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Those are all the things that happened in the world of film and television for October the 22nd. Not much there, but I do believe it is about that time for the main event of episode number 43 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And as you see from the title of this very video, it is the 50 best horror movies you must see before you die. And this article came from Empire Online, and this came about this month. This actually updated on October the 3rd. So this is the main event for this very episode of the Rock Out Wild Show. And because we are in the spirit of Halloween, it's coming up in just a week's time. I think it's only fitting that we do some Halloween themes for the next couple of episodes here. And like I said earlier, episode 44 is going to be all Halloween themed. But for this episode, this is more of a precursor to next week. So let's get the main event going for this very episode. So I'm going to share screen. And let's go to this article. So, like I said, this came from Empire Online. And this is a list of the 50 best horror movies you must see before you die. I don't think I actually went over this before, so I think I'm good. So let's get this going, shall we? I'm just going to skip some of these stuff here, but you can pause it if you want, just to read that before I start getting into this list. So this is how they chose the 50 best horror movies of all time. In creating Empire's list of the 50 best horror movies of all time, we turn to our experienced team of critics and contributors here at the biggest movie magazine in the world to pool their expertise. Now having weighed up the team's short lists and their entries, artistic merit, cultural impact, and overall genre list credential, we have, after much heated discussion, settled on a final lineup. The result is a list that will delight some of you, horrify others for all the wrong reasons, and give at least a few of you as many sleepless nights of fright-filled viewing as it's given us. Ooh, I'm scared already. Above all else, and you can sense the sarcasm here. Some of these lists, I don't know, but I wanted to get over. I actually want to actually look this over because it's hot off the presses here. Above all else, though, we believe we've landed on a damn fine rundown of some of the greatest horror flicks around. So draw your salt circles, count the cutlery in your kitchen drawer, and take a deep breath and come with us as we guide you through the films that thrill us and chill us the most. Here's Empire's list of the 50 best horror movies. So number 50, it's chapter 1 and 2. We have a tie here for number 50. Now, as for what do I think, should this movie belong on this list? Maybe the first one, but not the second one. The second one wasn't all that good, but the first one was, I thought it was pretty good. This one was directed by Andy Muschietti, and the runtime will combine with both of them. It's 5 hours and 4 minutes. The first one, 2 hours, 15 minutes. And the second one, 2 hours, 49 minutes. We had Jessica Chastain, James McCoy, Bill Hader, Jack Dillon, Gracer, Finn Wolfhard, who's from Stranger Things, Sophia Lillis, and Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise. I gotta say, Bill Skarsgård, I thought was a good Pennywise. I actually thought he was. Number 49, Saw. I have not seen this movie at all. There's only one Saw movie that I saw, and it was Jigsaw sometime in the last decade. So I haven't seen this. Other than that, I haven't seen this movie at all. Does it belong on this list? You could talk to people that seen this movie. I don't know what they would say. This one was directed by James Wan. It stars Lee Whannell, Carrie Ells, who was from Liar Liar way back when, and Tobin Bell. Number 48, Hellraiser. I have not seen this one. I have heard that this movie has a cult following. This came out in 1987 here. And obviously, I have heard of Pinhead, and I know how iconic this character is. This horror movie, I just haven't seen. Haven't given this the time of day just yet. Maybe one day I will. Runtime is an hour and 34 minutes. This movie stars Andrew Robinson, Claire Higgins, Ashley Lawrence, Sean Chapman, and Oliver Smith. Number 47, Drag Me to Hell from 2009. I don't think I've seen this at all. This is a movie directed by Sam Raimi, who directed the Spider-Man trilogy, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. I know Sam Raimi has a background in horror movies. I just haven't seen a single Sam Raimi horror movie. So I can't say if this belongs on this list or not. This one stars Alison Lohman, Justin Long, Ruth Liver, Lorna Raver, and Dilip Rao. Number 48, Audition. This one came out in 1999. I have not seen this one. I have never even heard of this one. This movie is directed by Tashika Mikey, I think. Or Mike, or Mike, because it has two Y's in the name. I don't know how that's pronounced, so I'm just guessing here. This movie stars Ryo Ishibashi, Ishi Shina, and Tetsu Zakawaki. Zawaki, I mean. Have not heard of this movie at all. I think it's one of those... Yeah, it's just one of those ones I haven't seen. But props to this picture for having an old school phone right there, and I'm pointing right at it. I love it. I love that this movie has an old school telephone in a movie that came out in 1999. I like it about that, even though I haven't seen it. Number 45, Talk to Me. That came out a couple of years ago. I have not seen this one at all. This one is directed by Michael and Danny Philippou. starring Sophie Wilde, Miranda Otto, Joe Bird, and Alexandria Jensen. Have not heard of this movie at all. This is, I think, as you see there, is streaming on Netflix. I don't know if this had a theatrical release at all, but it's just one I never heard of at all. Haven't even heard of it. Number 44, The Devil Rides Out, 1968. You know, you would think I've heard of this, but I haven't because it's an older horror movie, and I have been binging on some horror movie classics the past couple of years, or the past few years anyway. I don't know if I ever heard of this one, The Devil Rides Out. I am kind of interested because it came out in 1968. This one is directed by Terrence Fisher. Runtime of an hour and 36 minutes. Starring Christopher Lee, Charles Gray, and Leon Green, and Nike Aragai. Have not heard of it, but you would think I would, though. You would think I would. But I am interested because it came out that year. Number 43, A Quiet Place from 2018. You know, it's been 7 years since this movie came out. I think I would almost consider this in a top 50 horror movies of all time, but a movie that doesn't need to be incredibly high, like a top 10 or 20, doesn't need to be at all, because not even this movie is not a decade old yet. But because this movie is pretty good, I would almost consider this being in a top 50. So I think that is a good place for it. This movie was directed by John Krasinski, starring John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, Noah Jupe, and Millicent Simmons. And Noah Jupe is deaf in real life, which kind of adds to the awesomeness of this movie. This movie is really good. If you haven't checked out A Quiet Place yet, you're not doing yourself any justice at all. You have to see this. Number 42, Kill List from 2011. Have not heard of this movie at all. This one is directed by Ben Wheatley, starring Neil Maskell, Maya Burring, Harry Simpson, and Michael Smiley. Have not heard of this at all. I don't care to watch it at all. I don't even know if it belongs on the top 50 at all, so I'm going to keep going here. Number 40, what? Number 41, Nosferatu 1922. This one should be a lot higher. And I mean a lot higher. Number 41. Are you joking me with this? This should be a top 10. Why is this not higher? I'm almost baffled. At least it's on the top 50. I will give it that. I am glad it's on here. It's number 41, but granted, this should be incredibly higher. But like I said, I'm glad it's on here. This one is directed by F.W. Murnau. What a classic. I mean, this movie, in many ways, wrote the book on horror movies. It really did. This one is starring Max Schreck as the vampire himself, Nosferatu. Remember this movie when I go over my top 20 horror movies of all time, which will be coming next week. Remember this movie. That's all I will say. Number 40, Poltergeist from 1981. This is a movie I have been meaning to check out. This one is directed by Steven Spielberg and arguably one of, if not one of the best movie directors in the history of movie making. Does this belong on the list? I don't know because I haven't seen it, but I am interested in it because it is directed by Steven Spielberg. So, and this one stars Craig T. Nelson, JoBeth Williams, Beatrice Straight, and Dominic Dunn and Heather O'Rourke. Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking out this movie. I don't know if this belongs on here or not. You can ask someone if Poltergeist belongs on this list, if it does, but again, I'm going to keep going. Number 39, The Conjuring from 2013, and I absolutely agree with this assessment. I am glad The Conjuring is on the top 50. and I think it's at a good spot too. This one was directed by James Wan, starring Vera Farmiga, Pat and Patrick Wilson, Ron Livingston, Lily Taylor, and Joseph Bishara. One of the best horror movies of the 2010s, I might add. And I agree with this movie being on this list. I'm glad it's on here. Number 38, Day of the Dead from 1985. I have not seen this one at all, but I have been meaning to check this one out. This one is directed by George Romero, starring Laurie Cardile, Terry Alexander, Joseph Pilato, Sherman Howard. Why wouldn't mind checking this out? Because of the year it came out. And I don't mind a zombie movie every now and then. I have seen zombie movies that I hope that are on this list, but we'll see what happens on this list. This is actually my first time actually reacting to this. I haven't even seen this at all, so let's keep it going. Number 37, Dracula from 1958. Thank you. I love that this movie is on here. This belongs in the top 50 horror movies you must see before you die. I agree with this. I know it's not necessarily an all-time list per se, which is why I think Nosferatu again should be a lot higher. But I'm glad Dracula is at a good spot here, and it's the Christopher Lee movie was starring Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing, and Melissa Sterling, directed by Terence Fisher. It's only 1 hour and 22 minutes, and that's all you need to know. I love that Dracula 1958 is on here, and I'm hoping another certain vampire movie or two is on this list. We'll see. Number 36, It Follows from 2014, starring Makai Monroe and Lily Seppi, directed by David Robert Mitchell. I remember going to see this movie in the theater 11 years ago. It's a wonder I didn't do I don't know. Did I? I must check if I did do a movie review for this. If not, someone in the comment section will probably let me know if I reacted to this movie on the past Rock Out Wild episode, because it came out that year. That's when I started doing movie reviews then. But I remember this movie being a pretty good movie. I don't think this belongs on a top 50 all-time list. I don't. In fact, I think I will put it in a top 100, maybe somewhere in the 70s to 60s range, but not 36. This is way too high for It Follows. Now, that's just my take on it. That's just my take. Number 35, Hereditary from 2018, directed by Ari Aster, starring Toni Collette, Alex Wolff, Millie Shapiro, and Dowd and Gabriel Byrne. What do I have seen this movie? What do I think about this being on the top 50 and at number 35? I think, again, much like the movie before this, which was It Follows, I think is too high. This movie is not even a decade old and it's at number 35. I don't understand it. Now, granted, I do like this movie. I think it belongs on a list of horror movies that you must see before you die. I agree. But I think this one is way too high for its own good. Now, again, that's just my take. Number 34, The Fog from 1980, directed by John Carpenter. Runtime 1 hour and 29 minutes, starring John Houseman, Andrea Barbell, and Jamie Lee Curtis. This movie I have seen, and I think this one was a pretty good flick. I agree with this being on a list like this, and I'm glad it's number 34. That's all I would say about that. Number 33, The Babadook from 2014, directed by Jennifer Kent, starring Essie Davis, Danielle Henshaw, Noah Wiseman, and Haley McHenry. I've heard the buzz about this movie for a number of years, and there is some sort of like cult hype around this movie that I'm not aware of because I haven't seen it. Does this belong on a list? You'll have to ask the people that watch this film. Unfortunately for me, I haven't, so I don't have any say with this movie at all. Let's continue. Number 32, The Bride of Frankenstein from 1935, directed by James Whale, starring Boris Karloff, Elsa Lancher, Colin Clive, Valerie Hobson, Ernest Stegler, and Dwight Fry. I 100% agree this movie should be on this list. The Bride of Frankenstein I thought was a really good movie and a really good follow-up to Frankenstein itself, and I hope that movie is also on this list somewhere. That's my hope. Number 31, Raw from 2016, directed by Julia Ducournau, starring Granit Merriler, Ella Rumpf, and Rabbi Nate Ofella. Why does this give me Stranger Things vibes with this picture? And there's just something about it that gave me Stranger Things vibes. There's just something about it. Anyway, have I seen Raw from 2016? No, I haven't. So again, this is a movie where I have no say if this movie belongs on this list. Let's continue. Now we're getting into the top 30, and yes, thank you very much. Number 30 from 1931, Dracula, directed by Todd Browning. And the only person you really need to know from this movie is Bela Lugosi, but I'll read the others here. David Manners, Edward Van Sloan, and Dwight Fry. This movie 100% belongs on a top 50 horror movies list before you die. I love this movie to no end. Again, watch out for this movie next week on my top 20 horror movies of all time. There's a good possible chance you will see this movie on there. Number 29, oh great. Number 29 is, as you can tell, my mood just drastically changed. Number 29 is what I would like to call Midsommar pure utter torture. This movie was trash. Directed by Ari Aster, starring Florence Pugh, Jack Reynor, Wilhelm Blomgren, and William Jackson Harper, and Will Poulter. Where do I begin? Midsommar 2019 does not belong on this list whatsoever. In fact, if I were to compile a list of horror movies you should not see at all, this movie will be on here. I don't like this movie. There's many reasons why I don't like Midsommar 2019. Once I get my movie review for this movie and react to it, I'm very sure that I pretty much butchered this movie to Kingdom Come. In fact, I don't think I actually used words, but I used actions a lot more. 2 hours and 27 minutes. And this movie felt like 3 hours and 27 minutes. What a drag to get through. There is nothing good about this movie at all. The characters were highly unlikable. The acting was bland from everybody. And the story, I thought it was just in poor taste throughout. Oh, and there's people in this movie that make weird noises, and some of them are naked. And it's like, what in the bizarre world is going on? And don't give me this crap, oh, well, they're in a cult. No. There's a certain way actors act, and this movie is not it. I'm sorry, this movie is not it. No pun intended. Number 28, Don't Look Now from 1973. Again, a movie you would think I would know about, but I don't. But it looks like one I could watch. This one is directed by Nicholas Roeg. This one came out in 1973, starring Donald Sutherland, as you see right there. Julie Christie, Hilary Mason, Cecilia Montana. I have not seen this, but I am interested because it's Donald Sutherland. It's 1973, and it's a horror movie. That's a recipe for what looks like what I think could be a good flick. Number 28, if you talk to anybody that has seen this movie, ask them if they think that this movie belongs on this list. Number 27, Let the Right One In from 2008, directed by Thomas Alfredson, starring Carrie Hengenbert and Lena Leanderson. I have seen the movie that came out that was like a spin-off to this called Let Me In. I do remember that movie. This one I have not seen at all. In fact, I want about checking this out eventually. Number 26, The Innocents from 1961, directed by Jack Clayton, starring Deborah Kerr, Peter Weingard, Megs Jenkins, Michael Redgrave, Martin Stevens, and Pamela Franklin. I have not seen this movie at all. I wouldn't mind checking this out. It seems all right. Came out in 1961. It's a horror movie. Don't know any actors in this, but I'm open to any actors that I haven't seen at all. As for this movie being on this list, again, I don't know. I have no say in this. Number 25, The Descent from 2005, directed by Neil Marshall, starring Shauna McDonald, Natalie Mendoza, Alex Reed, Mayanna Brewing, and Seska Mulder. Another movie that I have never heard of, nor I haven't seen at all. Let's move on. Number 24, The Witch, directed by Robert Eggers, starring Anna Taylor-Joy, Ralph Inson, Kate Dickey, Harvey Scrimshaw, and Ellie Grainer. This movie came out 10 years ago. This is a movie that I have seen. Now, do I think that this movie is either too high or too low, or just right? Well, I think this movie is too high. Yeah, I think this movie is pretty good, but I think there are classics, that deserve the spot a lot more than The Witch. If this was my list, I would probably have The Witch somewhere in between the 40s or somewhere in the 40s. I will put this in the top 40, but not the top 25. That's my take on it. Number 23, 28 Days Later from 2002, directed by Danny Boyle, starring Cillian Murphy, Noah Huntley, Naomi Harris, and Christopher Eccleston. I think I did go see this movie back in high school, but I don't remember much. I know there was a movie that came out, when was it, this year? I think it was called 28 Years Later. And haven't even remotely decided to flick that on yet, because I kind of wanted to watch this movie again just to get a refresher. And as for this movie being on this list, I think it's at a decent spot. Again, I don't remember much, but I think I remember something about this movie that I did see. There was something about this that I did see. Number 22, Night of the Living Dead from 1968, directed by George A. Romero, starring Dwayne Jones, Judith O'Dea, Russell W. Schrader, Carl Hanman, Marilyn Eastman, and Keith Wayne. I don't think I have seen this. I could be wrong, but I don't think I have seen this. I have seen zombie movies and, things of that nature, but I don't think I've seen this. So we're going to go ahead and move on from there. Number 21, Get Out. Here's this one's directed by Jordan Peele, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Elsa Williams, Catherine Keener, Bradley Whitford, and Caleb Landry Jones. This is a movie I have seen at the theater, and what did I think of it? I think it was really damn good. One of the best horror movies of the decade, of the 2010s. It's up there with The Conjuring and Hereditary and The Witch. Do I think this movie gets the praise that it deserves? A lot of it, yeah. However, I don't think Get Out belongs in the top 25, maybe top 30. I will put it in the top 30, but not the top 25. This movie is just so slight too high, but I am glad it's on here and it's not forgotten. So thank you very much. Now we got 20 left. What do we got? Number 20, Suspiria from 1977. Haven't seen it. Don't care for it. It's directed by Dario Argentino. It's starring Jessica Harper, Stefano Cassani, Flavio Bucci, Alda Valli, and Udo Kerr. I was kind of told by someone that this movie is not very good, so this movie is not very appealing to me, so I'm going to skip it, and I'm going to move on from there. Number 19, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, directed by Toby Hooper, starring Marilyn Burns, Alan Dancer, and Paul A. Parton. This movie I have seen. This is not just a movie. This is an experience, and a damn good experience. And I think this movie does belong on a list of the top 50 horror movies that you must see before you die. I agree this should be on this list, and I think it's at a decent spot as well. Number 18, The Omen from 1976, directed by Richard Donner, starring Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, David Warner, and Billy Whitelaw. I absolutely 100% agree that The Omen should be in the top 20 on this list. I think it's at a good spot. Number 17, oh my god, it's already here. Psycho from 1960. Directed by Alfred Hitchcock, starring Anthony Perkins, Janet Leigh, Vera Miles, and John Gavin. I have seen this, and what do I think? I like what you heard in my reaction already. This movie is on this list already. To me, Psycho from 1960 should be in the top 10. At least in the top 10, at the most the top 5. Number 17 on this list. Again, I know it's not an all-time list, but I must emphasize here that Psycho is one of the best horror movies of all time. I think this movie should be a lot higher on this list. A lot higher. At least 7 or 8 spots. At least 7 or 8. I'm glad it's in the top 20, but this belongs in the top 10. That's my take. Number 16, Ring from 1998. And why this movie is higher than Psycho, I have no idea. Directed by Hideo Nakita, starring Nanako Mashima, Mika Nakata, and Yoshio Taguchi. Oh, hang on. This is not the movie I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the remake of this, the American version of it. I'm sorry. I thought this was another movie altogether. So this is one I have not seen at all. In fact, I take back what I just said earlier of saying why this movie is harder than Psycho when I haven't seen it at all. I almost thought this was The Ring at first because as you see in that picture of the woman with the long dark hair coming out, kind of resembles the remake in many ways. So I am sorry, I take everything back what I just said a few minutes ago. So I'm pretty sure if you talk to anyone, if they've seen this version of Ring, I wonder what they would think of this being higher than Psycho. That's what I like to know. Is Ring better than Psycho? That I cannot say, but I hope someone that has seen both does. Number 15, The Blair Witch Project from 1999, directed by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, starring Heather Donahue, Michael C. Williams, Joshua Leonard, Bob Griffin, Jim King, and Sandra Sanchez. I have not seen this movie at all. It's one of those big... This is one of those, like, big important movies that everybody knows that I did not see. So I can't really say if this belongs in this list at all, so I'm going to move on. Number 14, Dawn of the Dead from 1978, directed by George A. Romero, starring David Enge, Ken Foree, Scott H. Ringner, and Galen Ross. Over a runtime of 2 hours and 19 minutes. I did not see this movie. I plan to maybe one day eventually because it is a zombie movie. It is a horror movie. Even if I didn't see this movie, I would say, yeah, sure, put this movie in there. So that's that there. Number 13, Carrie from 1976, directed by Brian De Palma, starring Sissy Spacek, John Travolta, Piper Laurie, Amy Irving, William Catt, and Nancy Allen. I 100% agree of this movie being at that spot right there, number 13. That is an incredible spot to be on this list. So thank you to the person that made this list for putting Carrie at number 13. That is an excellent spot for Carrie. Number 12, An American Werewolf in London from 1981, directed by John Landis, starring David Naughton, Jenny Autry, Griffin Dunne, John Woodvine, Brian Glover, and David Schofield. I've not seen this movie at all. Looks interesting, but maybe one day eventually I will. And the runner-up position at number 11, Rosemary's Baby from 1968, directed by Roman Polanski, starring Mia Farrow, John Cassavetes, Cindy Blackmere, and Ruth Gordon. I'm surprised this movie is as high as it is, but I love that Rosemary's Baby is on this list. I'm happy this is on this list. Now we got 10 more. What do we have? Number 10, The Wicker Man from 1973, directed by Robin Hardy, starring Edward Woodward, Britt Eklund, Diane Clinto, Ingrid Pitt, and Christopher Lee. I have not seen The Wicker Man at all. I wonder if this is any good, considering they have this at number 10. I must ask around to see if anyone has seen The Wicker Man. You never know, I might give it a shot. Number 9, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Thank you very much. Directed by Wes Craven, starring John Saxon. And we get our first introduction to Johnny Depp, Ronnie Blakely, Heather Langenkamp, Amanda Weiss, and Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger himself. Excellent movie. If I were to compile a list of the top 50 best movies horror movies you must see before you die, I agree with this being in the top 10. I 100% agree with A Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm glad it's out here, and I'm glad it's high in the top 10. Number 8, Jaws from 1975. We're going to need a bigger boat. You know the rest. Directed by Steven Spielberg. And doesn't have the actors listed. I know Richard Dreyfuss is in it, and I forget who the other two were. Yeah, I 100% agree with Jaws being in the top 10. This was essentially the first big blockbuster back then. And even though I wasn't born yet, I would have loved to see this in the theater when this came out. Would have loved to. And I would, just to see the lineups for this. That I would have loved to see. Already. You're joking me. I'll get into it here. Number 7, The Exorcist from 1973, directed by William Friedkin, starring Ellen Bernstein, Linda Blair, Max von Sydow, Jason Miller. I have seen this at least a few times, 2 or 3 times anyway. And again, it's one of those movies. If you were around in 1973, the buzz, the hype about this, the lineups in the theater. If you lived in that period, you would get what I'm talking about. Even though I haven't, you would get what I'm talking about. And I think this movie should be a lot higher. I know. I'm glad it's high on the top 10. It's at number 7, but I think this should be at the very least, be in the top 3 portion of the top 50. That's me, but I'm glad it's in the top 10 anyway. Number 6, Evil Dead 2 from 1987, directed by Sam Raimi, starring Bruce Campbell, Sarah Berry, and Dan Hicks. Haven't seen this movie. Maybe one day I will. Maybe I might start binging Sam Raimi's horror movies eventually. I know Sean Chandler has seen this movie and thinks it's one of the best horror movies of all time, so I'm not going to knock this too much being at number 6, even though I haven't seen it. Number 5, Scream from 1996, directed by Wes Craven, starring David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Geach Ehrlich, Matthew Lillard, and Drew Barrymore. I really liked this movie at the time when it came out. I don't know if I see this now, if it will age at all, but when this came out and when I seen this, I love it. Is it too high or too low? I don't know if I would put it in the top 10 per se, but I would definitely put it in the top 20. So maybe it's just a little bit too high, but I do love Scream. I actually do love this movie. Number 4, The Thing from 1982, directed by John Carpenter, starring Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, Keith David, Richard Dysart, Richard Masur, and Donald Moffat. I love and adore The Thing from 1982. I actually have this somewhere on Blu-ray in my collection. And I think it's one of the best horror movies of all time. And I think this film is at a great spot, comfortably at number 4 on this list. Thank you very much. Number 3, Halloween from 1978. I mean, you can't talk about the day of October 31st, Halloween, when you're talking about movies and not bring up Halloween. It's just one of those things that is inevitable. This one stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasence, Tony Moran, Nick Castle, and Charles Cyphers. I agree with this being on this list, and I agree with it being at number 3. I have no complaints about that at all. Number 2, Alien from 1979, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Sigourney Weaver, John Hurt, Tom Skerritt, Harry Dean Stanton, Ian Holm, Yaphet Kotto, and Veronica Cartwright. I have seen this movie. I've seen it a couple of times, and I agree 100% that this movie should be on the top 50, and I am even more happy to see Alien in the top 10 portion of this list. And I'm glad it's all the way up at number 2. Now, as far as this movie being higher than The Exorcist and Psycho and Nosferatu, I don't agree with, but I'm glad that Alien is getting a lot of love on this list. And number 1, The Shining from 1980. This is no surprise here. I was expecting this movie to come, starring Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, and Danny Lloyd. Again, this is one of those movies. Watch out for it on my top 20 horror movies of all time coming next week on the Rock Out Wild show. There's really not much to say beforehand once I get to that list, other than The Shining. It's one of those movies that always gets brought up when you talk about horror movies. Now, do I think that this movie deserves the number 1 spot? No. Do I think that this movie deserves to be in the top 10? Yes. There is a distinction. There is a distinction there. So I don't mind this being number 1. I get it. I think the film is slightly overrated, but I don't mind this being number 1 because everybody loves The Shining. I don't know many people that do not like The Shining, which is why I think that film is number 1 on this list. And as for this list overall, it's not bad. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good. As far as lists go for movies and films, this is one of the better ones, I think. Even though I could probably place a few of them above others, I have no real legit complaints about this list other than having Midsommar in this top 50. Other than that, everything else, It's not bad. It's not bad. So that was the top 50 best horror movies you need to see before you die from Empire.com. And this has been episode number 43 of the Rock Out Wild Show. I'm going to leave you all with a quote, and it goes something like this. You are on the brink of something truly wonderful. Embrace this moment with open arms and an open heart. Trust in the universe's plan for you and believe in your own strength and resilience. The challenges you have faced prepared you for the new chapter in your life. Embrace the unknown with excitement and positivity, knowing that you are capable of achieving great things. Keep moving forward with courage and determination, and remember that you are deserving of all the blessings that are coming your way. Exciting times are ahead, and you are ready to shine bright. I am your host, Just Mike, and this has been episode number 43 of the Rock Out Wild Show. And on a final note to all of you watching, get plenty of rest and always do your best.